Imagine a night where the air feels different, the boundaries between worlds blur, and the shadows stretch a little longer. It's not just any night, it's the night when ancient peoples believed that the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. This was the time of early autumnal festivals, where the world stood on the edge of something sacred and mysterious. Centuries ago, as the days grew shorter and the warmth of the sun began to fade, ancient cultures felt the chill of winter creeping closer. The harvest had been gathered, the fields were empty, and a quiet settled over the land. But this quiet wasn't peaceful, it was heavy with anticipation, with the sense that something powerful was stirring. The earth, having given its bounty, was now preparing for the long sleep of winter, and in this time of change, people sensed the presence of something beyond the ordinary. In the midst of this, the festival of Samhain emerged. It wasn't a celebration like we know today, filled with bright lights and laughter. No, Samhain was something deeper, something that made the heart race and the skin prickle with the feeling that the night was alive. The ancient Celts believed that on this night, the spirits of the dead could walk among the living. It was a time when the lines between this world and the next grew thin, and the spirits that had been kept at bay all year long could now roam freely. The air was thick with the scent of bonfires, burning not just to warm the body, but to protect the soul. These fires were lit with a purpose, to guide the spirits, to keep away the darkness, to ensure that the dead could find their way back to the other side. Families would gather around these fires, their faces lit by the flickering flames, their thoughts turning to those who had passed on. The stories they told were not just to entertain, but to remember, to keep the memory of their loved ones alive, even as they faced the cold reality that death was never far away. But there was more to Samhain than just the spirits of the dead. The people of that time understood that this night was a threshold, a time of transition. The world around them was changing, the harvest was over, and the earth was beginning to close in on itself, preparing for the harshness of winter. It was a time to honor the cycle of life and death, to accept that just as the crops must die for the earth to rest, so too must people accept the inevitability of their own mortality. In the quiet of the night, when the only sound was the crackling of the bonfires and the whisper of the wind through the barren trees, there was a sense of being watched. It was said that the spirits, both good and bad, would come to visit on this night. The people would leave offerings of food and drink outside their homes, gifts for the wandering souls, in hopes that these spirits would bring them good fortune in the coming year. But there was also fear, a fear that the spirits might not be satisfied, that they might bring misfortune instead. This fear wasn't just about the dead, it was about the unknown, the things that lurked in the darkness, just out of sight. The ancient Celts were a people who lived close to the land, who understood that life was fragile, that death was always near. They saw the world as full of spirits, both seen and unseen, and they knew that on this night, the unseen became visible. The animals that roamed the fields, the birds that flew through the sky, all were believed to be messengers, signs from the other world. The cries of owls were thought to be the voices of the dead, calling out from the shadows. The rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig underfoot, every sound was a reminder that they were not alone, that something was out there, watching, waiting. And so, they huddled close to the fires, told stories, and made their offerings. They wore masks and costumes, disguising themselves to confuse any spirits that might wish them harm. It was a night of transformation, where the living could become something else, if only for a little while. The masks were not just for fun, they were a shield, a way to hide from the spirits that roamed the earth. But even in the midst of this fear, there was hope. The people believed that the dead could offer guidance, that their ancestors could help them through the dark days ahead. The festival of Samhain was not just about the end of the harvest, but about preparing for the future. The people would look to the spirits for signs, for omens that might tell them what the coming year would bring. They would consult the druids, the wise men and women who could interpret these signs, who could speak with the spirits and understand their messages. The druids would read the flames, watch the smoke, listen to the wind, and from these things, they would find the answers that the people sought. It was a time of mystery, of reverence, of acknowledging that there was more to life than what could be seen or touched. As the night wore on and the fires began to burn low, there was a sense of peace, a feeling that for a moment, the world was balanced between life and death, light and dark. The spirits, having visited their loved ones, would return to the other world, leaving the living to continue on without them. The people knew that winter was coming, that the days would grow even shorter, the nights even colder. But they also knew that they had faced the darkness and survived, that they had honored the dead and been blessed by their presence. The ancient festivals of autumn were not just about marking the end of the harvest, they were about confronting the reality of life and death, about acknowledging the power of the unseen, about finding strength in the face of fear. The people of that time understood that to live was to be part of a cycle that would continue long after they were gone. And on this night, they stood on the edge of that cycle, looking out into the darkness, and feeling the pull of something greater than themselves. The night of Samhain was not like any other. As the last light of the autumn sun slipped below the horizon, a shiver ran through the air, and the world seemed to hold its breath. The Celts knew that on this night, something extraordinary was happening. The boundary between the world of the living and the realm of the dead was thinning, almost vanishing. For them, it wasn't just a belief, it was a reality that came alive in the darkness. The fires burned brightly, casting long, dancing shadows that flickered against the ancient stones. These fires were more than just warmth against the cold, they were a beacon, a protective force against the spirits that roamed freely on this night. The Celts gathered around, their faces lit by the flames, their eyes reflecting a mix of reverence and fear. Samhain was the time when they could feel the presence of those who had passed on, the spirits of their ancestors, who were said to cross back into the world of the living. But this crossing wasn't a simple visit. The Celts believed that the spirits came not just to reunite with loved ones, but to seek their help, to offer guidance, and sometimes to settle unfinished business. The living were expected to honor these spirits, to welcome them with respect and offerings. The thin veil between worlds meant that anything could happen, and the living had to be prepared for whatever the night might bring. They left food on their doorsteps, not as a mere gesture, but as a necessity. These offerings were meant to appease the spirits, to show that they were remembered and respected. It was believed that if the spirits were pleased, they would protect the household in the coming year. But if they were angered or ignored, they could bring misfortune or even harm. The food was a bridge, a way to connect the living with the dead, to ensure that both worlds remained in harmony. The night was filled with rituals, each one steeped in meaning. Masks and costumes were worn, not for fun, but to confuse and ward off any malevolent spirits. By disguising themselves, the Celts believed they could walk safely among the spirits without being recognized or targeted. The masks were often grotesque, designed to be frightening, as if to say to the spirits, "I am one of you, pass me by." But it wasn't just the spirits of the dead that were feared on Samhain. The Celts believed that otherworldly beings, fairies, demons, and creatures of the night, were also free to wander the earth. These beings were powerful, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous. The night was alive with the sense that anything was possible, that the normal rules of the world no longer applied. It was a time of both dread and awe, a time when the ordinary world was touched by something far greater and far more mysterious. Samhain was also a time for divination, for seeking answers from the other side. The Celts believed that on this night, when the veil was at its thinnest, the future could be glimpsed, and the will of the spirits understood. The Druids, the wise men and women of the Celtic tribes, would perform rituals, reading the patterns in the fire, the shapes in the smoke, and the whispers of the wind. They sought guidance for the year to come, asking the spirits for their wisdom, their protection, and their blessings. The land itself seemed to change on Samhain. The trees, now bare of their leaves, stood like silent sentinels, watching over the rituals below. The earth was quiet, as if holding its breath, waiting for the spirits to return to their resting place. The animals, too, seemed to sense the change, moving quietly through the night, their eyes glowing in the darkness, reflecting the light of the fires. And yet, amidst the fear and the rituals, there was also a sense of comfort. The Celts did not see death as something to be feared, but as a natural part of life. Samhain was a time to remember those who had passed on, to honor their memory, and to acknowledge that they were still a part of the world, even if unseen. The spirits were not strangers, they were family, ancestors, loved ones who had gone before. This connection to the past, to those who had lived and died, was at the heart of Samhain. But the living were not just passive participants in this festival. They were active in ensuring that the balance between the worlds was maintained. The rituals, the offerings, the masks, all were ways to engage with the spirits, to show respect, and to seek their favor. The Celts understood that life was fragile, that the line between life and death was thin, and that on this night, that line almost disappeared. The night of Samhain was long, and as the hours passed, the fires began to burn lower. The spirits, having visited their loved ones, would start to fade back into the shadows, returning to the otherworld until the next Samhain. The living, too, would begin to feel the weight of the night lifting, the sense that the world was slowly returning to normal. But the memory of the night, of the presence of the spirits, would linger long after the fires had gone out. Samhain was more than just a festival, it was a moment in time when the past, the present, and the future came together. The Celts knew that on this night, they were part of something ancient and powerful, something that connected them to the very fabric of the universe. The dead were not gone, they were simply on the other side, waiting for the night when the veil would lift once more. And on that night, the living would be ready, the fires would be lit, and the spirits would walk among them again. The chill of autumn settled over the land as the Roman Empire stretched its hand across the Celtic world. The Romans, with their gods, their rituals, and their unyielding will, brought with them festivals that would soon intertwine with the ancient traditions of the Celts. As the old and the new collided, something unexpected began to emerge, a blending of beliefs, a fusion of festivals that would leave a lasting mark on history. Feralia was a time of mourning, a day when the Romans honored their dead with solemn rituals. It was a time when the living paused to remember those who had passed, to offer sacrifices and prayers in the hope that the spirits would find peace. The air was thick with the scent of incense, the sound of whispered prayers echoing through the temples. The Romans believed that on this day, the spirits of the dead walked among them, and it was their duty to appease these restless souls. But Feralia was more than just a day of mourning. It was a time when the boundary between the living and the dead seemed to blur, when the world of the spirits was closer than ever. The offerings left at the graves, the cakes, the wine, the garlands, were not just symbols of remembrance. They were meant to nourish the spirits, to give them strength for their journey in the afterlife. The Romans feared that if these offerings were neglected, the spirits might become angry, bringing misfortune to the living. The Celts, with their deep connection to the spirit world, found something familiar in Feralia. They too believed in the power of the dead, and the importance of honoring those who had passed. As the Romans spread across their lands, Feralia began to take root in the Celtic consciousness. The two traditions, though born of different worlds, shared a common understanding that the dead were never truly gone, that their presence lingered, watching, waiting. Pomona was different. Where Feralia was dark and solemn, Pomona was a celebration of life, of the bounty of the earth. The Romans dedicated this festival to Pomona, the goddess of fruit and orchards, a symbol of abundance and nourishment. In the heart of autumn, when the harvest was at its peak, Pomona was honored with offerings of apples, nuts, and other fruits. The orchards were alive with color, the trees heavy with the weight of their fruit, a reminder of the earth's generosity. But Pomona was more than just a harvest festival. She represented the cycle of life and death, the balance of nature that the Romans held sacred. The apples that were gathered, the fruits that were offered, were not just food, they were symbols of life, of the earth's ability to provide, even as the days grew shorter and the nights colder. The Celts, whose own festivals celebrated the turning of the seasons, saw in Pomona a reflection of their own beliefs. They understood the power of the earth, the importance of the harvest, and the need to honor the forces that made life possible. As the Romans and the Celts coexisted, these festivals began to merge, each culture leaving its mark on the other. Feralia, with its focus on the dead, found a place alongside the Celtic traditions of Samhain. The offerings to the spirits, the belief in the thinness of the veil between worlds, resonated deeply with the Celts. Pomona, with her celebration of the harvest, became intertwined with the Celtic reverence for the earth and its cycles. The apples, once a symbol of Roman abundance, became a part of the Celtic rituals, a reminder of the life that continued even as the world darkened. The merging of these festivals was not just a matter of convenience, it was a reflection of the deep human need to connect with the past, to honor the dead, and to celebrate life. The Celts, with their ancient traditions, found in the Roman festivals a way to express their own beliefs, to honor their own dead, to celebrate their own harvest. The Romans, in turn, saw in the Celtic traditions a connection to the land, a reverence for the natural world that they had long respected. As the fires burned on Samhain night, the echoes of Feralia could be felt in the flickering flames. The offerings left at the doorsteps, the prayers whispered into the darkness, were not just for the Celtic spirits, but for the Roman dead as well. The apples that were gathered, the fruits that were shared, carried with them the blessing of Pomona, the hope of a bountiful harvest in the year to come. The blending of these traditions created something new, something that would endure long after the Romans had left and the Celts had faded into history. It was a testament to the power of human belief, to the ways in which cultures can come together, not in conflict, but in harmony. The dead were honored, the harvest celebrated, and the world continued to turn, the old and the new forever entwined. As the centuries passed, the festivals of Feralia and Pomona would become part of the fabric of Halloween, their influence felt in the offerings left for the dead, in the apples bobbing in the water, in the quiet prayers spoken on a dark autumn night. The spirits of the past, both Roman and Celtic, would walk together, their presence a reminder that life and death, harvest and decay, are all part of the same eternal cycle. In the stillness of the autumn night, as the last leaves fell from the trees and the earth prepared for winter, the echoes of these ancient festivals could still be heard. The Romans and the Celts, though long gone, had left their mark on the world, their traditions living on in the hearts of those who remembered. The firelight flickered, the shadows danced, and in the darkness, the spirits of the past smiled, knowing that they had not been forgotten. The old ways lingered in the shadows, clinging to the hearts of the people, even as the Christian church sought to bring the light of a new faith to the world. The ancient festivals, rich with the echoes of spirits and gods, refused to fade. They lived on in the whispers of the wind, in the crackling of autumn fires, and the offerings left for those who had passed beyond the veil. The church knew that these traditions ran deep, that they could not simply be erased. So, instead, they began to transform them, to give them new names, new meanings, while keeping their essence alive. All Saints' Day emerged, a day to honor the holy ones, those who had walked the earth in the light of God, whose lives were marked by sacrifice and faith. But beneath the solemnity, beneath the prayers and the hymns, there was a thread of something older, something that had once honored not just saints, but all spirits, all those who had passed into the great unknown. The church called it All Hallows, a name that echoed with the sacredness of the past, a day when the barriers between worlds still felt thin, when the dead were remembered with reverence and love. The night before All Hallows, the air would thicken with anticipation, the same electric charge that had once signaled the coming of Samhain. It was a night of watchfulness, of candles flickering in the windows, of shadows moving just beyond the reach of the light. The people still felt it, that old pull, the sense that something was out there, waiting, watching. And so, they would gather, not just to pray for the saints, but to keep the old customs alive, even if only in secret. The church did not stop there. All Souls' Day followed, a day for all the dead, a day when the prayers of the living were offered up for the souls still wandering, still seeking rest. The church spoke of purgatory, of the need to pray for those not yet in heaven, but the people knew in their bones that this day was for their ancestors, for the spirits of the land, for the souls that had once been honored in the old ways. The candles lit on All Souls' Day were more than just symbols of hope, they were beacons, guiding the lost, the forgotten, the beloved dead back to the warmth of the living. But as much as the church tried to transform these days, the old spirit of Samhain, of Feralia, of Pomona, remained. The people might call it All Hallows now, they might speak of saints and souls, but in their hearts, they were still leaving offerings for the spirits, still marking the turning of the year with fire and light. The masks worn by children, the feasts prepared with care, these were not just acts of Christian faith, but echoes of something older, something that had always been part of the world's turning. The church, with all its power and authority, could not extinguish the old ways. They could only reshape them, merge them with the new faith, until they became something both ancient and new. The saints, the holy souls, they became part of the great tapestry of the dead, honored alongside the spirits of the past, the gods of the harvest, the protectors of the hearth. The line between Christian and pagan blurred, until it was impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. The nights grew longer, the air colder, and still, the people would light their fires, would speak the names of the dead in hushed tones, would remember those who had gone before. They would gather in the churches, yes, to pray for the saints, for the souls in purgatory, but they would also leave offerings at the thresholds, would whisper to the shadows, would feel the presence of the old gods in the rustling leaves and the flickering flames. All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day were new names, but the essence was the same. The dead were honored, the living connected to the past, the world was reminded of the thin veil that separated life from death. The church had succeeded in bringing the people under its wing, but it had also become part of a tradition far older than itself, a tradition that would continue to shape the world for centuries to come. In the stillness of the autumn night, as the church bells tolled and the candles flickered, the spirits of the past mingled with the saints, the souls of the departed walked beside the living, and the old and the new came together in a dance as old as time. The people knew, even if they did not speak of it, that they were part of something eternal, something that no church, no faith, no power on earth could ever truly erase. The dead would always be with them, in the light of the fires, in the rustling of the leaves, in the quiet moments when the world seemed to stand still. The night air crackled with an ancient energy, as if the world itself was holding its breath. On this night, the boundary between the living and the dead grew so thin that the spirits of those long gone could step through, unseen, but deeply felt. It was the night of Samhain, the Celtic festival that marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter. Fires roared, their light pushing back the encroaching darkness, while the people gathered close, their hearts brimming with both reverence and fear. They knew that this night was unlike any other, a time when the spirits of the dead walked among them, when the past and present merged, and anything seemed possible. But as the centuries passed, something began to change. The old ways, once so deeply ingrained in the fabric of life, started to shift. The Christian church, with its power and influence, spread across the lands, seeking to bring its light to every corner of the earth. Yet the church understood that the old beliefs could not simply be eradicated, they were too deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. So, instead of fighting them, the church began to transform them, blending the new faith with the ancient traditions, creating something that was at once familiar and entirely new. Samhain did not disappear. It began to change, slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. The fires still burned, the spirits were still honored, but now there was a new layer added to the night. The church had claimed November 1st as All Saints' Day, a day to honor the holy men and women who had lived and died in the light of God. And on the eve of this day, the night of Samhain, became known as All Hallows' Eve, a time when the old and the new could coexist, when the spirits of the dead were still acknowledged, but through the lens of Christian faith. The people continued to light their fires, to leave offerings for the spirits, to feel the presence of the dead in the crisp autumn air. But now, they also prayed for the saints, they honored the souls in purgatory, they brought their traditions into the church. The masks and costumes, once worn to disguise oneself from the roaming spirits, now took on a new meaning. They became a way to mock the fear of death, to laugh in the face of what was once so terrifying, to celebrate life even as the world darkened. The transition was not sudden, it happened gradually, over generations. The people, who had once feared the night of Samhain, began to see it in a different light. It was no longer just a time of spirits and shadows, but also a time of saints and souls, a night when the living could connect with both the ancient past and the new faith. The old customs remained, but they were given new names, new meanings, new life. As the night of All Hallows' Eve continued to evolve, it began to spread beyond the Celtic lands. The traditions of Samhain, now entwined with the Christian practices, made their way across Europe, and eventually to the New World. There, in a land far from the Celtic homeland, these traditions took on yet another transformation. The night of All Hallows' Eve became known as Halloween, a time of costumes and candy, of tricks and treats, of ghost stories and haunted houses. But even as Halloween took on a life of its own, the echoes of Samhain remained. The fear, the excitement, the sense that on this night, the world was different, all carried through the ages. The fires no longer roared in the fields, the offerings were no longer left for the spirits, but the spirit of Samhain lived on in the laughter of children, in the thrill of a scare, in the flickering light of a jack-o'-lantern. Samhain, with its deep roots in the ancient past, had not been forgotten. It had simply changed, adapted, evolved. The night that had once been filled with the sound of whispered prayers to the spirits was now filled with the sound of laughter, of footsteps crunching through fallen leaves, of the rustle of costumes in the dark. But beneath it all, the old magic still lingered, the sense that on this night, the veil between worlds was still thin, that the dead were never truly gone, but walked among the living, just as they had for centuries. The transition from Samhain to Halloween was not just a change in name or practice, it was a reflection of the human need to connect with the past, to honor the dead, to celebrate life. The church had given new meaning to the old traditions, but it had also ensured that they would never be lost. The fires of Samhain might have been replaced by the glow of a jack-o'-lantern, but the spirit of the night, the fear and the wonder, the connection to those who had come before, remained as strong as ever. Halloween, with all its modern trappings, is still a night of mystery, of magic, of a connection to a world that is just out of reach. It is a night when the past and the present come together, when the old ways and the new faith intertwine, when the dead are remembered, not with fear, but with a sense of joy, of celebration. The spirits of Samhain have not been forgotten, they live on in every flickering light, every shadow that passes in the night, every whispered story of things that go bump in the dark. The world may have changed, the names may have shifted, but the essence of Samhain, of Halloween, remains the same. It is a night of wonder, of fear, of connection to the past, a reminder that the dead are never truly gone, but are always with us, walking beside us, just as they have always done. The church bells tolled in the cool night air, their echoes drifting over the quiet villages of medieval Europe. It was a time when darkness fell early, and the shadows seemed to stretch longer, reaching into the corners of people's lives. The night of All Hallows' Eve approached, and with it, the sense that something ancient, something powerful, was stirring once more. The church stood at the center of these small communities, its stone walls a symbol of faith and protection. Inside, candles flickered, casting a warm glow over the pews where people gathered to pray for the souls of the departed. The priests, clad in dark robes, spoke of the saints, of the holy ones who had gone before, of the need to pray for the souls still in purgatory. The people listened, their hands clasped tightly, their hearts heavy with the weight of the dead. They prayed, not just for the saints, but for their own lost loved ones, hoping their prayers might ease the suffering of those trapped in the afterlife. But outside the church, in the shadows of the night, another kind of ritual unfolded. The old folk customs, born of a time before the church had taken root, still lived on. The people could not forget the traditions of their ancestors, the rituals that had been passed down through generations. They knew that this night was special, that it was a time when the veil between the worlds grew thin, when the spirits of the dead could walk among the living. In the fields, small fires were lit, their flames flickering in the darkness. The people gathered around them, their faces lit by the firelight, their voices low. They told stories of the spirits, of the old gods, of the dead who returned on this night to visit their families, to seek out the warmth of the living. The fires were not just for light, they were a way to guide the spirits home, to show them that they were remembered, that they were still part of the world they had left behind. Children, dressed in simple masks and costumes, would go from house to house, their laughter ringing out in the night. They carried small lanterns, carved from turnips or gourds, their flickering lights warding off the darker spirits that might be lurking in the shadows. The people would offer them food, small cakes or fruits, in return for a blessing or a prayer. It was a tradition that blended the old with the new, a way to honor the dead while also protecting the living. Inside the homes, the hearth fires burned brightly, casting a warm glow over the simple rooms. Families gathered around the fire, sharing stories of those who had passed, of the ancestors who had walked these same paths, who had lived and died in the same land. The fire was a symbol of life, of the warmth that kept the darkness at bay, and on this night, it was more important than ever. The church rituals and the folk customs existed side by side, each influencing the other. The people might attend the church services, might pray for the souls of the dead, but they also kept the old ways alive. They knew that on this night, the dead were close, that they could feel the presence of their ancestors in the crackling of the fire, in the rustling of the leaves, and the chill of the night air. The priests might preach of heaven and hell, of the need to pray for the souls in purgatory, but the people also believed in the spirits that wandered the earth on this night, and the ghosts that lingered in the places they had once known. The old folk customs provided a way to connect with these spirits, to honor them, to ensure that they would not bring harm to the living. It was a delicate balance, a dance between the new faith and the old beliefs, and on this night, that balance was more important than ever. The church bells continued to toll, their sound carrying over the fields, over the fires, over the people gathered in the dark. The night was alive with the sense of something ancient, something that could not be fully understood, only felt. The people knew that they were part of a long tradition, one that stretched back into the mists of time, one that connected them to their ancestors, to the land, to the spirits of the dead. The night of All Hallows' Eve was both a time of fear and of hope, a night when the dead were honored, when the living could feel their presence, when the old customs and the new faith came together in a way that was both mysterious and powerful. The fires burned, the prayers were spoken, the spirits walked among the living, and for one night, the past and the present were one. As the night wore on, and the fires began to die down, the people would return to their homes, their hearts still heavy with the weight of the dead, but also with a sense of peace. They knew that they had honored their ancestors, that they had kept the old ways alive, even as they embraced the new. The church bells fell silent, the night grew still, but the memory of what had passed lingered in the air, a reminder that the dead were never truly gone, that they lived on in the hearts and minds of the living, in the flickering light of a fire, in the quiet of the night. The night seemed alive, pulsing with an energy that made the skin prickle and the heart race. In the darkness, whispers carried on the wind, voices that seemed to speak of things long forgotten, of fears buried deep in the human soul. This was a night when the ordinary world felt different, when the boundaries of reality stretched thin, allowing the unknown to seep through. Fear hung in the air, thick and suffocating, feeding on the shadows that crept along the ground. It was a fear that had been nurtured over centuries, born from the tales of witches and curses, of spirits and dark forces that roamed the earth. People spoke in hushed tones, casting wary glances over their shoulders, as if expecting something to leap from the darkness at any moment. Witchcraft was not just a tale told to scare children, it was a reality for those who lived in a time when the unexplained could only be understood through the lens of magic and the supernatural. Witches were believed to walk among the living, disguised as ordinary women but wielding powers that could bring devastation. The very thought of a witch's curse was enough to send shivers down the spine, enough to make people pray a little harder, clutch their charms a little tighter. But fear of witches was only one thread in the tapestry of superstition that colored the night. The unknown was a vast, terrifying thing, filled with dangers that could strike without warning. People relied on their rituals and traditions, clinging to them as a way to keep the darkness at bay. They carved grotesque faces into turnips and later pumpkins, their eerie glow serving as a warning to any malevolent spirits that might be lurking. The firelight reflected the fear that burned in every heart, the fear of what could not be seen, what could not be explained. In the stillness of the night, the line between the real and the imagined blurred, creating a space where anything seemed possible. The stories passed down through generations became more than just tales, they were woven into the very fabric of the night, adding to the tension that crackled in the air. These were not just stories of witches and ghosts, but warnings of the power that lay hidden in the world, a power that could strike without warning, that could take everything away in an instant. As the wind howled through the trees, it was easy to believe that it carried more than just leaves and debris. It seemed to carry the echoes of voices long silenced, the whispers of those who had been accused, tried, and condemned for witchcraft. Their fear, their anger, their despair lingered in the air, a reminder that the unknown had always been feared, had always held the power to destroy lives. The night was filled with signs and omens, each one a reminder of the thin line that separated the living from the dead, the known from the unknown. A black cat crossing one's path could be a harbinger of misfortune, a sudden chill could mean that a spirit was near. These superstitions, born of fear and passed down through the ages, shaped the way people saw the world, making every shadow seem a little darker, every sound a little more ominous. In every rustle of leaves, and every creak of the floorboards, the unknown loomed large, a constant presence that could not be ignored. The fear was palpable, a living, breathing thing that wrapped itself around the heart and refused to let go. It was a fear that drove people to seek protection in any way they could, to perform rituals and follow traditions that they believed would keep them safe. But the fear of the unknown was not just about witches or ghosts, it was about the deep, primal fear that lies at the heart of every human being. The fear of what cannot be controlled, of what cannot be seen, of what lurks just beyond the edge of understanding. It was a fear that could turn even the most rational person into a believer in the supernatural, that could make the night seem like a place of endless danger. The night of Halloween was a time when this fear was brought to the surface, when the old superstitions and beliefs were given new life. It was a time when the world felt different, when the shadows seemed to stretch a little further, when the air seemed to hum with a power that was both thrilling and terrifying. The fear of the unknown, of witchcraft, of the supernatural, was not just a relic of the past, it was a part of the human experience, a reminder that there are things in this world that will always be beyond our understanding. As the night wore on, and the darkness grew deeper, the fear only intensified. It was a fear that could not be escaped, a fear that seemed to seep into the very bones, making the heart race and the mind imagine all manner of horrors. But it was also a fear that brought people together, that made them light their fires, tell their stories, and seek comfort in the knowledge that they were not alone in their fear. The role of witchcraft, superstition, and fear in shaping Halloween was profound, leaving an indelible mark on the traditions that have been passed down through the ages. These were not just tales of the past, but echoes of a time when the unknown held a power that could not be ignored, when the night was a place of both wonder and terror, when the line between the living and the dead, the known and the unknown, was as thin as the autumn air. Even now, as the world has changed, as science and reason have replaced many of the old superstitions, the fear of the unknown remains. It is a part of the human experience, a reminder that there are still things in this world that we do not understand, that we cannot control, that we can only fear and respect. And on the night of Halloween, when the darkness closes in, that fear comes alive once more, a ghost of the past that refuses to be forgotten. The plague arrived silently, without warning, creeping into villages and towns like a shadow that couldn't be outrun. It swept through the streets, claiming lives with a relentless ferocity, leaving only fear and despair in its wake. The air itself seemed to carry death, a suffocating weight that pressed down on the living as they watched helplessly while their loved ones succumbed to the Black Death. In the midst of this unimaginable horror, death became more than a distant thought, it became a constant, unavoidable presence. People saw it everywhere, in the hollow eyes of the sick, in the funeral processions that seemed to never end, in the quiet, empty homes that once held laughter and life. The world had turned into a graveyard, and the living walked among the dead, haunted by the knowledge that they too could be claimed at any moment. The faces of death were all around, not just in the bodies piled high, but in the very atmosphere of dread that permeated every corner of society. The fear was overwhelming, a suffocating blanket that smothered any hope of escape. People turned to religion, to prayer, to any source of comfort they could find, but even the church bells that tolled for the dead seemed to carry the promise of more suffering to come. This encounter with the Black Death left a deep scar on the collective psyche, a wound that festered and grew, twisting the way people viewed the world. Death was no longer a distant, inevitable part of life. It was a monstrous, malevolent force that could strike without reason, without mercy. The macabre, once relegated to the fringes of thought, became central to how people understood their existence. The boundaries between life and death blurred, and the living found themselves in a world where the dead held a terrifying power. In the aftermath, Halloween began to take on these darker themes, reflecting the shadow that the Black Death had cast over society. The fear of death, now more palpable than ever, seeped into the traditions and rituals associated with the holiday. The night of Halloween, already steeped in mystery and superstition, became a time when death was not just acknowledged but embraced, a time when the living could confront their deepest fears. The images of skulls and skeletons, of ghosts and spirits, became symbols not just of the supernatural but of the very real horrors that people had witnessed. These symbols were a way to cope, to make sense of the senseless, to bring some order to the chaos that the plague had unleashed. The macabre elements of Halloween were not just about scaring others, they were about facing the terror that had become a part of everyday life, about finding a way to live with the knowledge that death was never far away. The dance of death, a common theme in medieval art and literature, found its way into Halloween traditions as well. This image of death leading the living in a grim procession served as a reminder that no one was safe, that death came for everyone, rich or poor, young or old. It was a reflection of the harsh reality that the Black Death had made all too clear, that life was fragile, fleeting, and that death was the only certainty. As people gathered on Halloween night, they did so with a new awareness of the thin line that separated them from the dead. The night became a time to honor those who had been lost, but also a time to confront the fear that still lingered in every heart. The rituals of Halloween, the costumes, the masks, the games, took on a new significance as they became a way to mock death, to show that even in the face of such overwhelming horror, life could still find a way to go on. But beneath the laughter and the revelry, there was always that undercurrent of dread, that reminder that death was never far away. The Black Death had left its mark, and Halloween became a reflection of the darkness that now inhabited every soul. The macabre was no longer just a part of the holiday, it was the very essence of it, a way to keep the memory of those lost alive, even as the world tried to move forward. The fear of death, of the unknown, of the unstoppable force that had claimed so many lives, became intertwined with the traditions of Halloween. The night was no longer just about spirits and ghosts, it was about the real, tangible fear that had gripped the world during the plague. The horrors of the Black Death were woven into the fabric of the holiday, turning it into a night when the dead were not just remembered but confronted, when the living could face their fears in a world that had been forever changed. The legacy of the Black Death lived on in Halloween, in the way that death became an integral part of the holiday's imagery and rituals. It was a legacy of fear, of loss, of the knowledge that life was fragile and that death could strike without warning. But it was also a legacy of resilience, of the human spirit's ability to find meaning even in the darkest of times, to take the horrors of the past and turn them into a way to cope with the present. The night of Halloween, with its dark themes and macabre symbols, became a testament to the enduring impact of the Black Death, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable horror, life goes on, and that the living must find a way to confront their fears, to remember the dead, and to carry on in a world that had been forever changed. The nights in Tudor and Stuart England were long and cold, the air thick with an eerie stillness that seemed to amplify every sound. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a sense of unease settled over the land, a creeping awareness that this was a time when the ordinary world was at its most vulnerable. Halloween was not just a night of merriment and games, it was a night when the barriers between the living and the dead felt dangerously thin. The Reformation had swept through England like a fire, changing the very fabric of society. Old customs and beliefs were torn apart, replaced by new doctrines that sought to control the fears and superstitions of the people. But even in the midst of this upheaval, Halloween endured, its roots too deep, its hold on the human heart too strong to be easily erased. On Halloween night, the people of Tudor and Stuart England gathered, their faces lit by the flickering flames of bonfires that roared into the sky. These fires were not just for warmth or light, they were beacons in the darkness, meant to ward off the spirits that might be wandering the earth. The firelight danced on the faces of those who huddled close, their eyes wide with the unspoken fear that something might be watching them from the shadows. The impact of the Reformation was felt in every aspect of life, and Halloween was no exception. The Church, now under the control of the Crown, sought to distance itself from the old ways, to stamp out the superstitions that had been a part of Halloween for centuries. But the people held on to their traditions, finding ways to incorporate the new religious teachings into the old practices, creating a strange and uneasy blend of the sacred and the profane. In the streets and fields, children played games that were meant to predict the future, to glimpse the mysteries that lay beyond the veil of the ordinary world. They peeled apples, hoping to see the shape of their future love in the twist of the peel, or dropped melted lead into water, watching as it formed shapes that foretold their fate. These were not just games, they were acts of defiance against the uncertainty of life, a way to grasp at some small measure of control in a world that was often frightening and unpredictable. But beneath the laughter and the games, there was always that undercurrent of fear, that awareness that the night of Halloween was different from any other. The Reformation had brought with it a new fear, the fear of damnation, of being cast into the fires of hell for straying too far from the teachings of the church. This fear mingled with the older, more primal fears of the spirits and the dead, creating a night that was as much about survival as it was about celebration. In the flickering firelight, people whispered prayers and charms, hoping to protect themselves from the unseen forces that might be lurking in the darkness. They carried sprigs of herbs, hung charms above their doors, and left offerings of food and drink for the spirits, hoping to appease them, to keep them at bay for another year. These rituals were a way to navigate the fear that Halloween brought, a way to find some comfort in a world that often seemed cruel and unforgiving. The Reformation had changed the way people thought about life and death, about sin and salvation, but it could not change the fundamental human fear of the unknown. Halloween, with its dark traditions and eerie customs, was a reflection of that fear, a night when the boundaries between the living and the dead, the known and the unknown, were at their most fragile. Even as the church preached against the old ways, the people continued to celebrate Halloween, finding in it a way to connect with the past, to remember the dead, and to confront their fears. The rituals and customs of the night were passed down through generations, each one adding its own layer of meaning and mystery to the holiday. In Tudor and Stuart England, Halloween was a night of contradictions, a night when the old and the new, the sacred and the profane, came together in a strange and unsettling dance. It was a night when the fears of the past and the uncertainties of the future collided, creating a tension that was almost palpable. And yet, despite the fear, despite the darkness, there was also a sense of resilience, a determination to survive, to hold on to the traditions that had been passed down through the ages. The people of Tudor and Stuart England may have lived in a time of great change and uncertainty, but on Halloween night, they found a way to hold on to the past, to confront their fears, and to find some measure of peace in the midst of the darkness. The bonfires burned bright, the games were played, the charms were hung, and for one night, the living and the dead, the past and the present, came together in a dance that would be remembered for generations to come. The crisp autumn air held a chill that seemed to whisper of change, a shift in the traditions that had long defined the season. As the days grew shorter and the nights grew darker, the familiar sights of Halloween began to fade from the streets of England. In their place, new celebrations started to light up the November sky, casting Halloween into the shadows of history. It began with a roar, the explosive crackle of fireworks, and the bright, blazing glow of bonfires. Guy Fawkes Night emerged from the ashes of a failed conspiracy, celebrating the foiling of a plot to destroy the Houses of Parliament. It was a night that demanded attention with its vivid displays of fire and light, starkly contrasting the quieter, more solemn observances of Halloween. As November 5th approached, the once familiar faces of Halloween were slowly eclipsed by the vivid spectacle of Guy Fawkes Night. The ancient customs of Halloween, with their ghostly apparitions and eerie rituals, began to lose their grip on the English imagination. Halloween's once revered traditions, filled with the mystique of spirits and the macabre, started to recede, overshadowed by the thunderous celebrations of Fawkes' failed plot. Bonfires blazed across the countryside, not to ward off wandering spirits, but to celebrate a narrow escape from a potentially catastrophic event. The fireworks lit up the sky with bursts of color, their brilliance and noise offering a stark contrast to the dim, flickering lights of Halloween's jack-o'-lanterns. As the effigies of Guy Fawkes were burned, the flames seemed to consume not just the man but the old ways as well, reducing them to memories flickering in the distance. The shift was not just in the public celebrations, but also in the way people approached the season. Guy Fawkes Night offered a sense of unity and purpose, a chance to come together in a collective display of triumph and relief. Halloween, with its ancient fears and customs, began to seem like a relic from a bygone era, its significance overshadowed by the dramatic, politically charged festivities of November 5th. The once vibrant Halloween traditions, those eerie customs of carving faces into pumpkins, playing games to predict the future, and gathering around fires to ward off malevolent spirits, were slowly pushed aside. Children who had once roamed the streets in search of treats or to perform their Halloween rituals now found themselves drawn to the excitement of Guy Fawkes Night. The nights grew brighter with the glow of fireworks and the roar of bonfires, eclipsing the ghostly glow of Halloween's candles. As the centuries passed, the celebrations of Guy Fawkes Night grew stronger, its fireworks and bonfires becoming synonymous with the season. Halloween's specter became a ghost of its former self, remembered more as a quaint, distant memory than a vibrant, living tradition. The sights and sounds of November 5th, with their dramatic flair and collective fervor, made the quieter, more introspective traditions of Halloween seem almost insubstantial by comparison. The rise of Guy Fawkes Night marked a significant turning point, a shift that transformed the way people experienced the autumn season. The old customs and fears of Halloween, once central to the season, faded into the background as the new festival took hold. The fiery displays of November 5th offered a stark, dramatic alternative to the more somber, reflective traditions of Halloween, capturing the public's imagination and ensuring that Guy Fawkes Night would become a prominent fixture of the season. The decline of Halloween in England, overshadowed by the rise of Guy Fawkes Night, was a testament to the power of new traditions to reshape and replace the old. The season of autumn, once filled with the haunting whispers and eerie rituals of Halloween, was now illuminated by the bright, explosive spectacle of Guy Fawkes Night. The once revered holiday became a ghostly echo of a time when fear and superstition held sway, replaced by a celebration of triumph and defiance that lit up the November sky with its brilliant, fiery display. The journey of Halloween began as a whisper in the wind, carried across the Atlantic by weary travelers seeking a new life in America. As the 19th century dawned, Irish and Scottish immigrants embarked on a voyage that would carry them far from their homeland. With them, they brought not just their hopes and dreams, but also the ancient customs and traditions that had once filled their autumn nights with magic and mystery. These immigrants arrived in North America with heavy hearts, burdened by the weight of their past, but also eager to make a new start. The journey was long and arduous, but their spirits remained unbroken. In the midst of this struggle, they held tight to their cultural heritage, knowing that it was their link to a world they had left behind. Among the traditions they carried was Halloween, a festival steeped in history and rich with the echoes of ancient rituals. In the old world, Halloween had been a night of shadows and secrets, of spirits and stories told around the flickering light of a fire. It was a time for remembering the dead and confronting the mysteries of the unknown. As these immigrants settled in their new homes, they faced a world that was unfamiliar and sometimes unwelcoming. But even in the face of adversity, they found solace in the familiar rhythms of their old traditions. They began to celebrate Halloween as they had back home, gathering with family and friends to mark the night with old customs and rituals. They carved pumpkins, a tradition that had once been practiced with turnips in the old country, creating faces that glowed with an eerie light. They told stories of ghosts and goblins, weaving tales that echoed the fears and wonders of their homeland. And they played games that had been passed down through generations, each one a link to a past they held dear. In the heart of their new communities, Halloween began to take on a new form, influenced by the changing world around them. The traditions of the Irish and Scottish immigrants blended with those of their American neighbors, creating a festival that was both familiar and new. The Halloween of the 19th century began to evolve, shaped by the diverse cultures and traditions that came together in the melting pot of America. The Irish and Scottish immigrants poured their hearts into these celebrations, infusing them with the joy and sorrow of their journey. For them, Halloween was more than just a holiday, it was a way to hold on to their identity, to remember the lands they had left behind, and to build new memories in a place that was becoming their home. As time went on, Halloween grew from a whispered tradition into a vibrant celebration, one that captured the imagination of a new generation. Children who had never known the old customs embraced the magic of the night, eagerly participating in the festivities that had been brought to America by their ancestors. The jack-o'-lanterns, the costumes, and the games became a part of their lives, a way to connect with the stories and traditions of the past. The immigrant communities celebrated with a passion that was both heartfelt and exuberant. They threw parties and parades, decorating their homes with symbols of the season and filling the air with the laughter of children and the warmth of family gatherings. Halloween became a time of joy and connection, a way to celebrate both their heritage and their new life in America. Through their efforts, Halloween began to spread beyond the immigrant neighborhoods, touching the lives of people from all walks of life. It became a holiday that was embraced by communities across the country, its ancient roots mingling with the new traditions that had emerged in the melting pot of America. The journey of Halloween to North America was a story of resilience and hope, a testament to the strength of those who carried their traditions with them across the sea. It was a reminder that even in the face of change and uncertainty, the threads of the past could be woven into the fabric of the present, creating something new and beautiful. As the years passed, Halloween continued to grow and evolve, shaped by the diverse cultures and traditions that had come together in America. The festival that had once been a whisper in the wind became a roaring celebration, a testament to the enduring power of tradition and the enduring spirit of those who brought it with them from afar. The air was crisp with autumn's chill, a subtle promise of the night's enchantments. Victorian America, poised at the crossroads of tradition and change, began to breathe new life into the fading echoes of Halloween. It was a time when the world seemed to turn backward, to relive the romance and mystique of earlier days, all through the lens of nostalgia. In this period of revival, Halloween began to reawaken from its slumber. The once dormant festival, overshadowed by other celebrations and the everyday grind, started to shimmer with a new, vivid light. Victorian Americans, with their penchant for all things quaint and sentimental, began to reclaim Halloween from the past, weaving it into the fabric of their own world. The Victorian era was steeped in romanticism, a yearning for the past that was reflected in every corner of society. This was a time when people looked back with longing at simpler times, when life seemed to move at a slower pace, filled with mystery and magic. Halloween, with its ancient roots and ghostly lore, was the perfect canvas for this revival. Homes were adorned with symbols of the season, delicate paper lanterns that flickered softly in the night, carved pumpkins glowing with a gentle, otherworldly light. The sight of these pumpkins, their faces glowing with a warm, inviting light, became a symbol of the festival, a link between the old world and the new. Children, dressed in costumes that ranged from the whimsical to the eerie, roamed the streets with a sense of wonder and excitement. They knocked on doors, their voices ringing out with the age-old chant of trick or treat, as they sought out sweet rewards for their festive efforts. The tradition of costumes and treats became a way for families to connect with the festival's past while creating new memories in the present. Parties and gatherings became an integral part of the Halloween revival. The Victorians loved their parties, and Halloween offered a chance to dress up and indulge in the fantasy of another time. Elegant costumes and elaborate decorations filled the rooms of grand homes as people embraced the chance to celebrate in style. These gatherings were not just about revelry, they were about recreating a sense of magic and mystery, a longing for the days of old. The stories of ghosts and spirits that once whispered through the old country now took on a new life in Victorian America. People gathered around to hear tales of the supernatural, their imaginations sparked by the flickering candlelight and the soft rustle of autumn leaves. These stories, full of suspense and wonder, became a cherished part of the Halloween experience, a way to connect with the past and celebrate the unknown. The revival of Halloween was not just about recreating the past, it was about infusing it with new meaning and excitement. The Victorian fascination with the supernatural and the macabre gave the festival a fresh, vibrant energy. Halloween became a night of enchantment and wonder, a time when the boundaries between the ordinary and the extraordinary seemed to blur. As the festival gained popularity, it began to spread beyond the confines of the Victorian era, its influence reaching into the wider world. The traditions of Halloween, reimagined and revived, became a beloved part of American culture. The pumpkin, once a symbol of ancient customs, became a universal icon of the season, its warm glow a beacon of the magic and mystery that Halloween had come to represent. In the end, the revival of Halloween in Victorian America was a testament to the enduring power of tradition and the human spirit. It was a time when people reached back into the past, drawing on the ghosts and legends of old to create something new and beautiful. Halloween, with its blend of romance and nostalgia, became a celebration of the past and a promise of the future, a night when the ordinary world was transformed into a realm of wonder and enchantment. The night air crackled with a sense of anticipation as October 31st approached, the eve of a festival that had taken on a life of its own in America. Halloween, once a collection of old-world customs, had begun to evolve into something uniquely American, bursting forth with traditions that would become deeply ingrained in the fabric of the holiday. It all started with the jack-o'-lantern, a symbol that had traveled across the Atlantic with Irish and Scottish immigrants. In America, the tradition of carving pumpkins took on a new, vibrant energy. The pumpkin's broad, orange surface was perfect for creating faces that danced with a mischievous glow. As children carved their pumpkins, their giggles filled the air, each cut of the knife revealing a new, flickering expression. The jack-o'-lanterns, set upon porches and windowsills, became beacons of the night, their warm, eerie light guiding the way for trick-or-treaters and casting playful shadows on the ground. Trick-or-treating emerged as one of the most beloved Halloween traditions, its origins a blend of old customs and new creativity. Children, dressed in costumes ranging from ghosts to superheroes, roamed the streets with wide-eyed excitement. The ritual was simple: knock on the door, shout trick or treat, and be rewarded with a handful of candy. The joy of filling a bag with sweet treats was matched only by the thrill of the costumes and the camaraderie of friends and neighbors. Each house they visited was a small adventure, a part of the larger, festive quest that defined Halloween night. Haunted houses added a new layer of thrill and chills to the holiday. What began as simple, homegrown haunts evolved into elaborate productions that turned basements, garages, and even entire buildings into spook-filled experiences. Families and communities came together to create these haunted attractions, using creativity and ingenuity to build scenes that ranged from the delightfully eerie to the downright terrifying. The haunted house became a place where fear and fun mingled, where the thrill of the unknown was matched only by the laughter and screams of those brave enough to enter. Each of these customs brought its own unique flavor to Halloween, weaving together a tapestry of fun and fright that captured the essence of the holiday. The jack-o'-lanterns, with their glowing faces, became symbols of both the spooky and the festive. Trick-or-treating created a sense of community and joy, a chance for children to experience the magic of the night. Haunted houses offered a chance to confront fears in a safe, controlled environment, adding an extra layer of excitement to the holiday. As these traditions took hold, they became more than just activities, they became part of the identity of Halloween in America. The festival transformed into a night of boundless creativity and joy, a time when people of all ages could come together to celebrate the spooky and the sweet. The evolution of these customs reflected the spirit of the holiday, a blend of the old and the new, the familiar and the innovative. In the end, Halloween in America became a celebration that was as diverse and dynamic as the country itself. The traditions that had been brought from distant lands were infused with new life, creating a holiday that was uniquely American in its celebration of both the whimsical and the eerie. The jack-o'-lanterns glowed with the warmth of tradition, trick-or-treating brought joy to countless children, and haunted houses offered thrills and chills to those seeking a touch of fear. The evolution of Halloween customs in America was a testament to the holiday's ability to adapt and grow, to blend old-world charm with new-world creativity. It became a night of wonder and excitement, where the past and present came together to create a celebration that was both timeless and fresh, capturing the imagination and the hearts of all who took part. As shadows lengthened and the chill of autumn crept through the streets, Halloween began to cast its spell on American pop culture, weaving its way into literature, theater, and later, film and television. This transformation was nothing short of magical, turning a festival of old traditions into a captivating spectacle that would captivate generations. In the early days of American literature, Halloween was often a backdrop for tales of mystery and the supernatural. Writers, inspired by the eerie ambience of the season, began to craft stories that captured the essence of Halloween's magic and menace. The night became a canvas for their imaginations, filled with ghostly apparitions, haunted landscapes, and the thrill of the unknown. These stories, with their chilling plots and haunting imagery, drew readers into a world where the boundaries between reality and the supernatural blurred, sparking a fascination that would grow ever deeper. The theater, too, embraced Halloween's allure, transforming it into a stage for dramatic and spooky performances. Theatrical productions captured the spirit of the night with their elaborate costumes, eerie sets, and suspenseful plots. Audiences flocked to see these live performances, drawn by the promise of a night filled with thrills and chills. The theater brought Halloween to life in a way that was visceral and immediate, immersing viewers in the excitement and fear of the season. As technology advanced, Halloween's magic began to seep into film and television, bringing the festival into the living rooms of millions. Early films and shows captured the essence of Halloween with a mix of horror and humor, creating stories that ranged from spine-tingling to delightfully spooky. The iconic imagery of jack-o'-lanterns, ghosts, and witches began to appear on screens, transforming Halloween from a distant tradition into a vivid and accessible celebration. Movies like Halloween became cultural landmarks, setting the stage for a new era of Halloween-themed entertainment. These films, with their suspenseful plots and memorable characters, tapped into the deep-seated fears and excitement of the season, leaving an indelible mark on pop culture. The character of Michael Myers, with his chilling mask and relentless pursuit, became a symbol of Halloween's darker side, capturing the imagination of audiences and ensuring that Halloween would be forever linked to the thrill of horror. Television shows followed suit, crafting episodes that embraced the spooky spirit of Halloween. Sitcoms and dramas alike featured Halloween-themed episodes that combined humor with the eerie, creating a blend of entertainment that was both entertaining and heartwarming. These episodes became a staple of Halloween celebrations, offering a chance for families to gather and enjoy the festive spirit together. As Halloween's portrayal in pop culture evolved, it began to reflect the changing tastes and sensibilities of the times. The festival, once seen through a lens of traditional fears and ghostly legends, began to embrace a wider range of themes. From the playful and comedic to the dark and thrilling, Halloween became a celebration that could be both fun and frightening, a reflection of the diverse ways in which people experience and enjoy the season. The rise of Halloween in pop culture also influenced how people celebrated the festival. The images and themes from literature, theater, and media became part of the everyday Halloween experience, shaping how people dressed up, decorated their homes, and celebrated the night. The iconic costumes, the elaborate haunted houses, and the festive parties all drew inspiration from the rich tapestry of Halloween's portrayal in popular media. In this way, Halloween transformed from a collection of old traditions into a vibrant and dynamic part of American culture. Its portrayal in literature, theater, and media brought new life to the festival, making it a beloved part of the year's celebrations. The magic and mystery of Halloween were no longer confined to the pages of books or the stages of theaters, but had become an integral part of the entertainment landscape, captivating audiences and sparking their imaginations. The rise of Halloween in pop culture was a testament to the festival's enduring appeal and its ability to capture the spirit of the season. From its early literary roots to its modern-day manifestations on screen, Halloween continued to enchant and entertain, offering a glimpse into the magic and mystery that have always been at the heart of the celebration. The first hint of October arrives with a crisp whisper, and suddenly, everything transforms. Streets, once plain, now burst with vibrant oranges and blacks. Storefronts don masks of cobwebs and ghosts, and aisles overflow with candy, costumes, and decorations. Halloween, a night once steeped in ancient traditions and spooky legends, has now become a commercial spectacle, a celebration of excess wrapped in glitter and ghoulish delight. As the days grow shorter and the leaves turn golden, the spirit of Halloween begins to shimmer in the aisles of stores, promising a world where fantasy and fright collide. The transformation into a commercial holiday has turned the once simple festival into a grand showcase of imagination and industry. Every corner of a store is meticulously arranged to evoke the thrill of Halloween, from the towering stacks of candy to the rows of costumes that promise a night of enchanted escapades. The rise of Halloween costumes has turned into an annual extravaganza. No longer confined to homemade sheets or masks, costumes now range from the whimsical to the wildly elaborate. Whether it's a pirate, a fairy, or a superhero, the aisles are lined with endless options. The joy of choosing a costume has become an integral part of the celebration, a chance for children and adults alike to step into a different world for a night. The excitement of donning a new persona, of becoming someone or something else, fills the air with a sense of magic and possibility. Candy, once a simple treat, has evolved into a central feature of the Halloween experience. The stores are filled with colorful wrappers and sugary confections, each promising a burst of sweetness to accompany the night's festivities. The tradition of trick-or-treating has become a race to fill bags with a variety of treats, a joyful hunt that brings smiles to the faces of both givers and receivers. The sheer abundance of candy creates a sense of excitement, a sugary promise that adds to the thrill of the night. Decorations have become a grand affair, transforming homes into haunted havens and yards into eerie landscapes. From inflatable ghosts that sway in the breeze to elaborate graveyard setups, the effort to create the perfect Halloween ambience is evident. Every detail, from the flickering lights to the spooky sound effects, adds to the sense of wonder and enchantment. The joy of decorating, of turning a home into a place where magic and mystery abound, is a testament to the festival's ability to inspire creativity and excitement. The commercialization of Halloween has made it a season of extravagance and creativity. The streets, once quiet and still, now come alive with the sights and sounds of the festival. Homes and stores alike embrace the spirit of the season, creating a vivid tapestry of colors and themes that capture the imagination. The excitement that fills the air is a reflection of the joy and anticipation that Halloween brings, a celebration of the festival's ability to enchant and entertain. This transformation into a commercial holiday has made Halloween a celebration of abundance and creativity. The once humble festival now stands as a testament to the joy and excitement that can be found in every corner of life. The aisles of stores, the streets adorned with decorations, and the bags of candy all come together to create a sense of wonder that captures the essence of Halloween. In the end, the commercialization of Halloween is a celebration of the festival's enduring appeal. The magic of the night is reflected in every costume, every piece of candy, and every decoration. The festival has evolved into a grand display of imagination and joy, a testament to the way in which Halloween continues to inspire and delight. The transformation into a commercial holiday has added a new layer of excitement and wonder to the celebration, making it a night where fantasy and fun come together in a dazzling display of creativity and cheer. When the echoes of war thundered across the globe, Halloween's familiar cheer was put to the test. The 20th century, marked by its wars and transformations, saw Halloween adapt and survive through some of the darkest and most hopeful times in modern history. During the World Wars, the world was gripped by fear and uncertainty. Streets that had once been alive with Halloween's revelry fell silent, replaced by a somber mood that gripped the hearts of those waiting for news from distant battlefields. The festival, long a symbol of fun and fright, found itself in a subdued state as families worried for loved ones and faced the daily trials of wartime life. Yet, even amidst the gloom, Halloween's spark refused to be extinguished. As the world slowly healed, Halloween began to reclaim its place in society, reflecting the resilience and spirit of a world on the mend. The post-war years ushered in a time of recovery and change. Halloween, ever adaptive, began to incorporate the new cultural and social norms of the 1950s. This was a time of burgeoning prosperity and optimism, and the festival mirrored these sentiments with a new burst of energy and creativity. In the aftermath of the wars, Halloween became a celebration of peace and normalcy. The streets, once empty and quiet, were now alive with the laughter of children, their costumes reflecting a sense of renewed hope and innocence. Trick-or-treating, which had been subdued during the war years, experienced a revival. The simple act of knocking on doors and receiving candy became a joyful expression of normal life returning, a small but significant respite from the trials of the past years. Costumes, once simple and homemade, began to reflect the growing influence of American pop culture. The post-war era saw an explosion of commercially available costumes as the festival embraced the new consumer culture. Children donned vibrant costumes inspired by the burgeoning world of television and cinema, transforming their neighborhoods into a parade of imaginative characters and whimsical figures. The once homemade masks gave way to store-bought creations, marking a shift in how Halloween was celebrated and perceived. The 1950s brought a renewed focus on community and family. Halloween parties and gatherings became more elaborate, reflecting the social changes and the desire for shared, joyful experiences. The festival provided a much-needed escape from the rigid routines of daily life, offering a chance for families and friends to come together in celebration. The warmth of these gatherings, combined with the festive atmosphere, made Halloween a time of connection and happiness. Decorations also evolved, becoming more elaborate and commercialized. The simple, handmade touches of earlier years gave way to mass-produced items that adorned homes and streets alike. From colorful streamers to eerie lanterns, the decorations reflected the growing commercial aspect of the festival, bringing a new layer of visual excitement to Halloween. The evolution of Halloween during the early 20th century was a testament to its ability to adapt and endure. Even as the world changed, Halloween remained a constant, a symbol of hope and renewal. The festival's transformation mirrored the broader shifts in society, embracing the new cultural and social dynamics while holding on to the core elements that had always made it special. In the years following the wars, Halloween's resurgence was a beacon of joy and celebration. The festival became a way for people to reconnect with the simple pleasures of life, to celebrate with friends and family, and to revel in the magic of the season. The changes and adaptations made during these times helped shape Halloween into the vibrant, multifaceted celebration it is today. Through all the trials and triumphs of the 20th century, Halloween's spirit endured. The festival's ability to adapt to changing times, while maintaining its core essence, is a testament to its enduring appeal. As the world moved from the shadows of conflict to the bright promise of the future, Halloween stood as a reminder of the joy and wonder that could always be found, even in the most challenging times. The 1960s and 1970s saw Halloween burst from its traditional confines into a vibrant celebration that echoed the counterculture revolution. As society questioned norms and embraced new ideas, Halloween transformed into a festival that celebrated both fear and freedom. During this era, the air crackled with rebellion and creativity. The counterculture movement, with its emphasis on breaking away from conventions, infused Halloween with fresh, unconventional energy. The festival became a playground for expressing new ideas, defying old rules, and celebrating in ways that were previously unimaginable. One of the most significant shifts was the rise of horror films. The silver screen became a mirror reflecting society's deepest fears and darkest fantasies. Movies like Psycho, Night of the Living Dead, and The Exorcist pushed the boundaries of horror, turning monsters and mayhem into cultural touchstones. Halloween, always a night of spooky tales and eerie thrills, became the perfect canvas for these cinematic nightmares. The horror film boom redefined the essence of Halloween, making it a time not just for playful fright, but for intense, visceral scares that resonated with the era's growing fascination with the macabre. As horror films gripped the public's imagination, Halloween's celebrations began to mirror the genre's darker tones. The holiday's traditional elements of fun and fright took on new, more intense forms. Costume parties and haunted houses became more elaborate, more daring. People were no longer content with simple costumes and decorations. They sought to create immersive experiences that echoed the chilling thrills of their favorite horror films. Haunted houses turned into elaborate mazes of terror, where every corner concealed a new fright, each designed to send shivers down the spine and heart racing with adrenaline. The counterculture's embrace of Halloween also ushered in a new era of adult celebrations. No longer just a children's holiday, Halloween began to attract a growing number of adults eager to partake in the festivities. The era's emphasis on self-expression and rebellion found a perfect outlet in Halloween parties that featured elaborate costumes, creative themes, and a focus on pushing boundaries. These gatherings were more than just parties, they were celebrations of freedom, creativity, and the thrill of stepping outside societal norms. Costumes from this period reflected the era's spirit of experimentation. People dressed as characters from the latest horror films, psychedelic icons, or political figures, all blending to create a rich tapestry of cultural commentary and creativity. The traditional ghosts and goblins gave way to more innovative and provocative choices, each costume a statement of personal freedom and artistic expression. Halloween's connection with the counterculture movement was also marked by a shift in how people celebrated. The holiday became a time for exploring new forms of entertainment and pushing the limits of what was acceptable. Parties turned into theatrical events, where guests could immerse themselves in elaborate sets and scenarios inspired by the horror genre and the era's avant-garde art. The once simple act of trick-or-treating evolved into more complex social rituals, reflecting the era's penchant for reinvention and innovation. The impact of the counterculture on Halloween was profound and lasting. The festival, once a simple celebration of the spooky season, became a multifaceted celebration of horror, freedom, and creativity. The era's embrace of the macabre and the unconventional helped shape Halloween into a festival that transcended its traditional roots, evolving into a vibrant, dynamic celebration that continues to captivate and inspire. The 1960s and 1970s were a time of profound change and upheaval, and Halloween mirrored this transformation. The era's influence turned the holiday into a canvas for exploring fears and fantasies, celebrating freedom and creativity. As the world around it changed, Halloween adapted and thrived, reflecting the spirit of a generation eager to break free from the old and embrace the new. In the dim light of a flickering screen, Hollywood began to sculpt Halloween into a celebration of fear and fantasy. The shadows of the silver screen reached out and intertwined with the traditions of Halloween, turning it into a spectacle of spine-tingling terror and thrilling delight. From the eerie silence of the early horror films to the blood-curdling screams of modern classics, Hollywood has played a crucial role in shaping how we perceive Halloween. The power of film to conjure nightmares and create legends has transformed the holiday into a cinematic celebration of fear. Iconic characters like Michael Myers from Halloween, Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th became more than just figures of fiction. They turned into symbols of Halloween itself. Their haunting presence and the terror they invoke became deeply woven into the fabric of Halloween celebrations. As Hollywood's influence grew, so did its impact on Halloween imagery and traditions. The movie industry didn't just create horror, it shaped how people experienced the holiday. The chilling atmospheres, eerie soundtracks, and unforgettable scenes of these films became synonymous with Halloween. The flickering images of ghosts, ghouls, and monsters on screen seeped into the cultural consciousness, making them central to Halloween celebrations. The masks, costumes, and decorations of the holiday began to reflect the terrifying and fantastical elements popularized by Hollywood. One of the most profound impacts of Hollywood horror on Halloween is the transformation of costumes. The simple, homemade disguises of earlier years evolved into elaborate, professional-grade ensembles inspired by movie monsters and supernatural beings. The masks and costumes worn today often mirror the grotesque and glamorous creatures seen in films, bringing a piece of that cinematic magic into our homes. The Halloween costume industry, fueled by the latest film releases, offers everything from the terrifyingly realistic to the fantastically fantastical, each reflecting the horror genre's influence. The Halloween season itself has become a prime time for film releases, with horror movies dominating the box office in the weeks leading up to October 31st. The excitement of a new horror film premiering during Halloween adds to the holiday's allure, creating a cycle of anticipation and fear that fuels both moviegoers and Halloween enthusiasts. The thrill of watching a new horror movie in the weeks leading up to Halloween, often paired with the iconic imagery from these films, heightens the excitement of the season and adds layers of chilling entertainment to the celebrations. Hollywood's impact on Halloween is also evident in the transformation of haunted houses and themed attractions. Inspired by the high production values and detailed set designs of horror films, these attractions have become more elaborate and immersive. They draw directly from the cinematic universe, creating experiences that echo the intensity and creativity of movie scenes. Visitors walk through scenes reminiscent of their favorite horror films, encountering the same frights and thrills that kept them on the edge of their seats in theaters. The lines between movie and reality blur, making Halloween an even more immersive experience. The rise of horror film franchises and their continuous influence on Halloween traditions also speaks to the deep connection between cinema and celebration. Characters and elements from these films become staples of the season, appearing in decorations, costumes, and themed events. The visual and thematic elements from horror movies become ingrained in Halloween culture, from the classic imagery of haunted houses and graveyards to the eerie glow of jack-o'-lanterns. Hollywood's role in shaping Halloween has created a lasting legacy that continues to evolve. The films and their influences have not only defined the way we celebrate the holiday, but have also cemented Halloween as a time of thrilling excitement and chilling fantasy. The cinematic world of horror, with its ability to evoke fear and wonder, has become inseparable from the essence of Halloween, enriching the holiday with layers of unforgettable imagery and spine-chilling experiences. The hum of the internet and the roar of mass media have transformed Halloween from a local celebration into a global phenomenon, making it a pulsating celebration of fear and festivity that spans continents. As television screens, computers, and smartphones became central to our lives, they carried Halloween's eerie magic into homes around the world. This once quaint celebration of ghouls and goblins began to flicker across screens, captivating audiences far beyond its origins. From chilling TV specials and horror films to viral internet trends, mass media turned Halloween into a spectacular showcase of creativity and commerce. The rise of mass media brought Halloween into the living rooms of millions, amplifying its reach and impact. Television shows and movies became pivotal in shaping how people perceive the holiday. Special Halloween episodes of popular TV shows and new horror releases in theaters became must-watch events, creating a shared cultural experience that united viewers in a collective celebration of all things spooky. These broadcasts not only entertained but also deepened the holiday's ties to fear and fantasy, making Halloween an eagerly anticipated season. The internet further accelerated Halloween's global journey. Social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok became virtual stages for Halloween revelry. Pictures of elaborate costumes, creative decorations, and spooky parties spread quickly, showcasing a vast array of Halloween expressions from around the world. Viral trends and challenges turned Halloween into a collaborative event where people could share their unique takes on the holiday and draw inspiration from others. Every post and hashtag contributed to a sprawling digital festival of fear and fun. Online shopping has made Halloween more accessible and inclusive than ever. With just a few clicks, people can order costumes, decorations, and treats from every corner of the globe. The internet's vast marketplace offers endless options, turning Halloween into a consumer-driven extravaganza where people can find everything from classic costumes to the latest trends inspired by movies, memes, and internet culture. This ease of access has turned Halloween into a season of endless possibilities, where imagination and creativity are limited only by one's desires. The rise of global connectivity means that Halloween is no longer confined to the Western world. It has transcended borders, merging with local traditions and becoming a part of diverse cultural celebrations. In countries where Halloween was once a foreign concept, the holiday is now embraced with unique twists that blend local customs with traditional Halloween elements. The internet has facilitated this cultural exchange, allowing Halloween to evolve and adapt in ways that reflect a blend of global influences. Mass media and the internet have also played a significant role in the commercialization of Halloween. Advertising campaigns, themed merchandise, and promotional events have turned the holiday into a major commercial spectacle. Stores decked out in Halloween decor and online ads featuring spooky sales have transformed Halloween into a retail event, with products and promotions designed to capture the holiday spirit and boost sales. The emphasis on consumerism has added a layer of festivity to Halloween, turning it into a time of shopping, partying, and indulgence. The digital age has made Halloween a 24/7 celebration, with online platforms allowing people to enjoy the holiday all year round. Streaming services offer a constant supply of horror films and Halloween specials, while social media keeps the spirit of the holiday alive through memes, videos, and themed content. This constant presence of Halloween-themed media ensures that the holiday's magic doesn't fade but instead becomes a year-long source of excitement and engagement. As Halloween continues to evolve in the age of mass media and the internet, it remains a testament to the power of shared experiences and global connectivity. The fusion of traditional elements with modern technology has created a vibrant, dynamic celebration that transcends cultural boundaries and reaches audiences around the world. Halloween, now a global spectacle, stands as a powerful reminder of how media and technology can transform and amplify cultural traditions, turning them into shared celebrations of creativity, fear, and festivity. On a crisp autumn night, as the full moon casts its ghostly light, Halloween's echoes travel far beyond its western roots, weaving into the fabric of cultures across the globe. What started as a Celtic festival has now become a universal celebration, touching lives and sparking imaginations in places once unfamiliar with its traditions. In bustling cities and quiet towns, Halloween's magic has crossed oceans and borders, leaving its mark on diverse cultures. The rhythm of trick-or-treating, the sparkle of jack-o'-lanterns, and the thrill of costumes have become familiar sights even in lands where once the holiday was just a whisper of a distant tradition. In Japan, where the spirit of Halloween has taken root, the celebration has blended with local customs to create a unique and vibrant festival. Streets come alive with dazzling parades of colorful costumes, from traditional horror icons to anime characters, as communities embrace the holiday with creativity and exuberance. Tokyo's Shibuya crossing transforms into a sea of masks and fantastical outfits, a testament to how Halloween has been reimagined and embraced. Across the globe in Mexico, Halloween has found a place alongside the Day of the Dead. The two celebrations intertwine, creating a fusion of cultures that honors both the spirits of the departed and the playful spooks of Halloween. Streets are adorned with both marigolds and jack-o'-lanterns, and festivities blend traditional elements with new ones. This fusion reflects a respectful blending of customs, where Halloween adds a layer of fun to the solemn and colorful Day of the Dead. In South Korea, Halloween has become a popular festival among the younger generation, with costume parties and themed events growing in popularity. The influence of global media and the internet has introduced this once foreign holiday to a new audience, where the excitement of costumes and decorations fills the air. Halloween-themed cafes and stores now dot the landscape, providing a taste of the celebration for those eager to participate. Australia, with its own springtime Halloween, has adopted the holiday with a twist. As the Southern Hemisphere's spring blossoms, Halloween's arrival brings a burst of autumnal spirit to the land. While trick-or-treating may take place in warmer weather, the enthusiasm for costumes and spooky festivities remains high. The adaptation of Halloween in Australia demonstrates how the holiday can be molded to fit the local climate while retaining its essence of fun and fright. In the heart of the Middle East, where Halloween was once a foreign concept, the holiday has begun to make its presence felt. Expats and locals alike have embraced the chance to dress up and celebrate, creating vibrant parties and events that showcase a blend of traditional costumes and local flair. This growing acceptance of Halloween reflects a broader trend of global cultural exchange, where traditions from different parts of the world come together in surprising and delightful ways. As Halloween spreads across the world, it takes on new meanings and forms. In each culture, the holiday adapts, merging with local traditions and customs to create celebrations that are both familiar and new. The universal themes of fear, fun, and festivity resonate across borders, allowing Halloween to become a part of global culture while still honoring its origins. The spread of Halloween around the world is a testament to its ability to connect people through shared experiences of wonder and fright. From vibrant parades in Tokyo to the fusion of celebrations in Mexico, the holiday has found a place in diverse cultures, enriching and expanding its reach with every new adaptation. The magic of Halloween, with its blend of fear and fantasy, continues to captivate hearts and imaginations, making it a truly global celebration of creativity and joy. On the edge of midnight, the air hums with a new kind of magic as Halloween morphs into a spectacle of modern wonder. As the moon rises, contemporary Halloween transforms into an electrifying display of creativity and innovation, shaping a festival that bursts with fresh energy and bold ideas. In the heart of city streets, the roar of a flash mob echoes through the night, a synchronized dance of costumes and lights that captivates crowds. What was once a solitary trick-or-treating experience has evolved into a vibrant, communal celebration. Groups of friends gather, clad in elaborate costumes, taking part in impromptu dances and performances that blend the thrill of the holiday with the excitement of spontaneous creativity. These gatherings are not just about costumes, they're about connecting with others through shared moments of joy and astonishment. The digital age has cast a new spell on Halloween, with social media platforms becoming the stage for a myriad of events and trends. Hashtags like #Halloween2024 light up screens as people from all over the world share their ghoulish get-ups, eerie decorations, and hauntingly creative ideas. Social media has transformed Halloween from a local celebration into a global spectacle where viral trends spread faster than ever. From DIY costume tutorials to viral dance challenges, the internet has given Halloween a new dimension, allowing creativity to flourish and spread across boundaries. Virtual reality has become a gateway to Halloween's most fantastical realms. With just a headset, people can step into immersive haunted houses and chilling worlds that stretch the imagination. The boundary between reality and fantasy blurs as virtual experiences offer a spine-tingling adventure that feels intensely real. These high-tech hauntings bring a new level of thrill, merging the eerie excitement of Halloween with cutting-edge technology. As Halloween evolves, so do the ways people celebrate. The rise of themed escape rooms challenges participants to solve puzzles and escape from spooky scenarios, offering an interactive twist to traditional Halloween activities. These rooms are filled with intricate details and spine-chilling surprises, immersing players in a world where every shadow and creak heightens the sense of dread. Each escape room is a carefully crafted adventure, blending suspense with clever storytelling to create a memorable Halloween experience. Pumpkin patches have taken on a new life, turning into sprawling festivals that celebrate all things autumnal. These events have become a family favorite, featuring corn mazes, hayrides, and pumpkin carving contests that draw crowds seeking wholesome fun. The pumpkin patch transforms into a magical land where children's laughter fills the air and families bond over shared activities. The humble pumpkin, once just a decoration, now serves as the centerpiece of a festive experience that brings communities together. Halloween's blend of tradition and innovation is most evident in the explosion of themed parties. From costume galas to horror film marathons, the ways people celebrate have become as diverse as the costumes they wear. These parties are not just about dressing up, they're about creating immersive experiences that transport guests to different worlds. Whether it's a 1920s speakeasy with a ghostly twist or a futuristic sci-fi bash, these parties push the boundaries of imagination, turning ordinary spaces into extraordinary realms of fright and fantasy. The commercial landscape of Halloween has also transformed, with brands and businesses jumping on the bandwagon to offer unique products and experiences. From limited edition candy flavors to exclusive Halloween-themed merchandise, the holiday has become a canvas for creativity and marketing ingenuity. Stores and online retailers showcase an ever-expanding array of decorations, costumes, and party supplies, reflecting the holiday's growing influence and the public's insatiable appetite for new and exciting ways to celebrate. As Halloween continues to evolve, its core essence remains, a celebration of the eerie, the extraordinary, and the imaginative. The trends and innovations that define contemporary Halloween reflect a world that is constantly changing and growing, where the old mingles with the new in a spectacular dance of creativity and excitement. From flash mobs to virtual haunts, the modern Halloween is a testament to the holiday's ability to adapt and thrive in an ever-shifting cultural landscape. Under the soft, flickering light of a jack-o'-lantern, an eerie calm settles over the night. The air is filled with a thrill that pulses through the veins of those who seek out the shadows. The heart races, and a chill runs down the spine, not from the cold, but from the thrill of fear. Halloween captures something deeply primal in us, the sheer joy of being scared. The darkness of Halloween is more than just a backdrop, it's a stage set for our deepest fears and fantasies. For many, this annual descent into the macabre is not about dread, but about an exhilarating escape. As we don our costumes and venture into haunted houses, we are stepping into a space where we can confront the fears that we usually keep at bay. The thrill of fear, paradoxically, is a source of comfort. It's a controlled environment where the risk is managed and the fear is contained. Every jump scare and creaking floorboard is a reminder that we are safe, that the horrors we face are only illusions. This controlled exposure to fear allows us to experience adrenaline and excitement in a safe setting. It's a way of challenging ourselves, of seeing how we react under pressure, without any real danger. The rush of fear, when it is tempered with safety, becomes a source of pleasure. There's also a deep, almost nostalgic comfort in Halloween's embrace of the supernatural. The ghosts, witches, and ghouls are not just figures of fright, but symbols of a world beyond the ordinary. They tap into our fascination with the unknown, with what lies beyond the veil of everyday life. This fascination is rooted in our need to explore and understand mysteries that lie beyond our grasp. Halloween offers a unique opportunity to engage with these mysteries in a way that's both thrilling and safe. It's a chance to flirt with the unknown, to touch it, and then retreat to the safety of the known. This annual ritual also allows us to explore and express our own fears in a social setting. We gather together to celebrate and to be scared, sharing our anxieties and finding solace in communal experiences. The group dynamics of Halloween create a collective thrill, where fear becomes something to be shared, to laugh about, and to celebrate together. The social aspect of Halloween reinforces the idea that we are not alone in our fears and that facing them can be a bonding experience. The fascination with the supernatural is deeply rooted in human psychology. It taps into a desire for stories that are larger than life, for experiences that transcend the mundane. The supernatural provides a way to explore the limits of our imagination, to confront the unknown without ever leaving the safety of our homes. Halloween is a time when these stories come alive, when the boundary between reality and fantasy blurs, allowing us to engage with our deepest fears and desires in a controlled, celebratory manner. For many, Halloween is a way to reconnect with a sense of wonder and excitement that might be lost in the routine of daily life. The spooky tales and the elaborate decorations awaken a sense of magic and mystery that is often missing from adulthood. This reawakening is not just about entertainment, it's about reclaiming a sense of wonder, of allowing ourselves to be captivated and enchanted by something as simple as a well-crafted ghost story or an elaborate costume. The psychological appeal of Halloween is multifaceted. It offers a safe space to confront and play with our fears, a chance to explore the supernatural, and a way to reconnect with a sense of wonder and excitement. It's a holiday that thrives on the thrill of fear and the allure of the unknown, providing a unique blend of adrenaline and comfort. In the end, Halloween's magic lies in its ability to transform fear into fun, and the unknown into something that can be both thrilling and comforting. Under the glow of flickering streetlights, a child in a pirate costume clutches a candy bucket, her eyes wide with excitement. Next to her, a ghostly figure drifts by, its tattered white sheet barely concealing the joy beneath. Each year, these costumes bring to life a rich tapestry of tradition and imagination, turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. The practice of dressing up has ancient roots that stretch far beyond Halloween. In many cultures, costumes and masks were once more than just playful disguises, they were vital elements of ritual and belief. Ancient peoples adorned themselves with elaborate masks and costumes to connect with their gods, spirits, and ancestors. These disguises were thought to hold magical properties, enabling wearers to cross between the world of the living and the realm of the divine. When people wore masks, they were believed to channel the power of the gods or become one with the spirits they sought to honor. For the Celts, Samhain marked the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter. It was a time when the boundary between the living and the dead was believed to be at its thinnest. People dressed in costumes to ward off malevolent spirits. By disguising themselves, they hoped to blend in with the spirits or confuse the wandering souls into passing them by. This ancient tradition of wearing masks was a protective measure, a way to shield oneself from forces beyond human control. In ancient Egypt, the practice of wearing masks was also steeped in spiritual significance. During religious ceremonies, priests and worshippers donned masks to embody deities, allowing them to perform sacred rites that bridged the human and divine worlds. The masks were crafted with great care, adorned with symbols and materials that conveyed the power of the gods they represented. These rituals transformed everyday individuals into divine beings, blurring the lines between the earthly and the eternal. As time moved on, the significance of costumes evolved. In medieval Europe, people celebrated festivals with masks and costumes that often symbolized different virtues and vices. During these festivities, people used masks to portray figures from folklore, history, or morality plays, using their disguises to convey deeper truths about human nature and society. These masks were not merely decorative, but served as tools for commentary and reflection, allowing people to explore and critique social norms and values. When Halloween began to take shape as a holiday, the tradition of dressing up continued to evolve. By the 19th century, immigrants from Ireland and Scotland brought with them their customs of masquerading during Halloween, blending them with American traditions. The costumes, once a form of protection and ritual, transformed into playful expressions of creativity. Children and adults alike embraced the opportunity to dress up as anything from ghosts and goblins to movie characters and superheroes. The masks that once had sacred or protective significance now became an avenue for imaginative expression and fun. In modern times, Halloween costumes reflect a wide array of influences, from popular culture to personal identity. The choice of costume has become a way for individuals to express their personalities, interests, and dreams. The process of donning a costume allows people to step into different roles, exploring aspects of themselves that might remain hidden in their everyday lives. For many, it's a chance to break free from the constraints of routine and become someone or something else entirely, if only for one night. The cultural significance of costumes and masks lies in their power to transform and transcend. They allow us to step outside of our daily lives and immerse ourselves in a world of fantasy and celebration. Through costumes, we connect with ancient traditions, engage with spiritual and cultural practices, and explore our own identities in new and exciting ways. In every carefully chosen mask and every creatively crafted costume, there's a piece of history and a whisper of ancient rituals. Whether we're donning a spooky ghost outfit or a glamorous movie star ensemble, we're participating in a tradition that spans centuries. Each costume is a thread in a grand tapestry, connecting us to the past and to each other through the shared joy of transformation and celebration. As the clock strikes midnight on Halloween, a vibrant sea of costumes flows through city streets. Amid the chaos, a crowd gathers around a drag queen in dazzling sequins, their laughter and cheers rising above the street music. In this night of costumes and celebration, Halloween becomes more than just a holiday. It transforms into a sanctuary of self-expression and freedom, especially for the LGBTQ+ community. Halloween has long been a stage where people can shed their everyday identities and step into a world where norms and rules fade away. For the LGBTQ+ community, this night is often a rare opportunity to explore and express facets of identity that might be restricted or hidden during the rest of the year. The freedom to don costumes that defy gender norms or to perform in ways that feel authentic can be deeply empowering. The roots of Halloween as a night of liberation trace back to the mid-20th century, when LGBTQ+ individuals, seeking solace and celebration in a world often filled with discrimination and repression, found a unique outlet in Halloween festivities. For many, it was more than just a chance to dress up. It was an opportunity to exist freely and authentically in a society that might otherwise force them to conform. In the 1970s and 1980s, Halloween became a pivotal space for LGBTQ+ visibility and activism. Drag balls and costume parties became central to the LGBTQ+ social scene, providing a platform for self-expression and a form of resistance against societal norms. The iconic Stonewall riots of 1969, which had marked a significant turning point in the fight for LGBTQ+ rights, had paved the way for a greater sense of community and pride. Halloween, with its emphasis on transformation and disguise, became a symbolic extension of this newfound freedom. The tradition of drag performance during Halloween is particularly significant. Drag queens and kings used elaborate costumes and makeup to challenge traditional gender roles and to celebrate the fluidity of gender identity. For many, these performances are not just entertainment, they are a celebration of self and an act of defiance against a world that often seeks to confine them. Halloween also offers a rare chance for LGBTQ+ individuals to showcase their creativity and resilience. In a world where acceptance is not always a given, the night becomes a canvas for personal expression and communal solidarity. The costumes and performances of Halloween are often infused with deeper meanings, representing not just playful escape but also the struggle for acceptance and the celebration of diversity. As Halloween has evolved, so too has its role in LGBTQ+ culture. The rise of social media and the internet has amplified the visibility of LGBTQ+ celebrations and the creative expression that characterizes Halloween. Viral videos of spectacular costumes and performances bring these celebrations to a global audience, allowing the LGBTQ+ community to share their experiences and pride with the world. The significance of Halloween for the LGBTQ+ community extends beyond the night itself. It is a reminder of the power of visibility and the importance of creating spaces where everyone can be their true selves. It's a celebration of diversity and an act of reclaiming spaces for joy and expression. For many, Halloween is a beacon of hope, a night when they can step into their truest selves, even if just for a few hours. It's a celebration of the spectrum of identities and the freedom to express them. As people don costumes and masks, they are not just participating in a holiday but also embracing a moment of liberation and pride. On a cold, moonlit Halloween night, whispers drift through the chill air, carrying tales that turn the bravest hearts to ice. Shadows seem to twist and dance with malevolent intent, fueled by the dark legends that have woven themselves into the fabric of Halloween. The dark side of Halloween is not merely an extension of the holiday's eerie allure, it's a tapestry of myths and urban legends that ignite fear and curiosity. From the ancient fear of the supernatural to the more recent urban legends, these stories add a haunting depth to the night. One of the most chilling legends is the tale of the razor blade in Halloween candy. It began in the 1950s and 60s, spreading terror with its story of malevolent strangers hiding razor blades, needles, or poison in Halloween treats. Each year, parents caution their children, examining candy with wary eyes, as the legend morphs into a dark reality that strikes fear into every home. Despite the lack of concrete cases, the myth persists, a ghostly reminder of how the innocence of trick-or-treating can be overshadowed by fear. Then there are the tales of the vanishing hitchhiker, where a lone driver encounters a hitchhiker, often a young woman, who mysteriously disappears before they reach their destination. When the driver arrives, they often learn that the hitchhiker was someone who died years ago. This legend preys on our deepest fears of the unknown and the supernatural, stirring a primal dread of encountering something beyond the realm of the living. Also lurking in the shadows are the myths of satanic rituals performed under the cover of Halloween. For years, rumors have circulated about cults conducting dark ceremonies on Halloween night. These stories often intertwine with real fears about the influence of the occult, exploiting the tension between the holiday's playful facade and the sinister unknown lurking beneath. Such tales capitalize on the very essence of Halloween, the blending of the macabre with the mundane. The legend of Bloody Mary is another haunting tale. In this legend, reciting her name in front of a mirror, usually in a darkened room, summons the ghostly apparition of Mary, who is said to appear and exact vengeance. This urban legend taps into primal fears of mirrors and the unknown, using the simple act of saying a name to conjure terror. Among the older, more chilling myths, the story of the witch's curse stands out. This tale speaks of witches who, during the witch hunts of the past, were said to place curses on people who wronged them. These curses were believed to come to life on Halloween night, causing inexplicable misfortunes or terrifying visions. Such legends play on our fears of being cursed or haunted, adding a layer of personal dread to the universal fear of the supernatural. Each of these legends is more than a simple story, they are reflections of our darkest fears and anxieties. They evoke a sense of vulnerability and helplessness, tapping into the deep-seated anxieties that make Halloween so haunting. The legends of Halloween are a reminder that the night is not just a celebration of fun and games, but also a time when the veil between the known and unknown is at its thinnest. As the wind howls and the night grows darker, these myths become a living part of the Halloween experience. They add a spine-chilling thrill to the holiday, reminding us of the deeper, more unsettling aspects of the night. Whether whispered around a campfire or spread through social media, these stories keep the spirit of Halloween alive, making sure that as long as the holiday is celebrated, the dark tales will continue to haunt and captivate. In the quiet of a church, the clash of beliefs echoes louder than the rustling of leaves on Halloween night. Amid the festive chaos of costumes and candy, a darker debate brews, one that questions the very essence of the holiday through the lens of faith. For many Christians, Halloween is a battleground where traditions and spiritual beliefs collide, creating deep divides and emotional conflicts. In some communities, Halloween is seen as a night of darkness, a time when the line between the sacred and the profane blurs dangerously. To these individuals, the holiday's origins in ancient pagan rituals, combined with its modern emphasis on the macabre and the supernatural, make it a symbol of evil and spiritual danger. They argue that the celebration of Halloween, with its ghosts, witches, and eerie costumes, promotes a culture of fear and superstition that contradicts Christian teachings. For them, participating in Halloween is akin to opening a door to malevolent forces, a practice that could compromise their faith and spiritual integrity. In contrast, others within the Christian community view Halloween through a different lens. They see it as an opportunity for fun and fellowship, a chance for families and children to enjoy themselves without necessarily embracing its more frightening aspects. This perspective emphasizes the secular and playful nature of modern Halloween, trick-or-treating, festive parties, and harmless pranks, as a way to celebrate community and create joyful memories. To these believers, Halloween's darker roots are overshadowed by the holiday's contemporary focus on harmless entertainment and creativity. The controversy intensifies within denominations with a strong emphasis on spiritual purity and moral guidance. Some churches choose to boycott Halloween entirely, opting for harvest festivals or fall festivals as an alternative. These events aim to provide a festive, non-spooky celebration that aligns with Christian values. These celebrations focus on harvest themes, community spirit, and family fun, distancing themselves from any association with the supernatural or occult. The goal is to offer a safe and wholesome environment for children and families, steering clear of the controversial elements of Halloween. Meanwhile, other denominations argue that the focus on Halloween's darker aspects is misplaced. They believe that the holiday, in its modern form, is primarily about community and family rather than spiritual danger. For them, Halloween is not a night of evil but a chance to engage in lighthearted fun. They emphasize that many of the holiday's traditions, such as costumes and trick-or-treating, are far removed from their ancient origins and have evolved into harmless, enjoyable activities. At the heart of these debates lies a deeper question about cultural adaptation and spiritual vigilance. Some argue that engaging with Halloween's modern celebrations doesn't necessarily mean endorsing its darker aspects. Instead, it can be seen as a way to navigate cultural traditions while maintaining one's faith. For these individuals, Halloween is an opportunity to teach children about the difference between fun and fear, to discuss the origins of the holiday in a historical context, and to focus on the positive aspects of community celebration. But even among those who embrace Halloween's modern, secular form, there are still moments of introspection and concern. Many Christians find themselves grappling with their personal beliefs and the impact of participating in a holiday with such complex origins. The conflict between enjoying Halloween festivities and adhering to religious convictions can create an internal struggle, one that is deeply personal and profoundly emotional. As Halloween approaches, churches and communities remain divided, each navigating the tension between tradition and modernity, faith and fun. The debate continues to stir emotions as individuals and families seek to reconcile their love for Halloween with their commitment to their spiritual values. Amidst the costumes and candy, the deeper questions of faith and practice persist, ensuring that the discussion around Halloween and religion remains as vibrant and contentious as ever. As dusk falls and shadows stretch long over suburban streets, Halloween transforms from a quaint tradition into a spectacle of wonder. With each passing year, the world watches as this night of ghosts and ghouls adapts to a rapidly changing landscape. What does the future hold for Halloween as cultural, technological, and social trends reshape it? In the not-too-distant future, technology will likely be at the forefront of Halloween's evolution. Picture a world where augmented reality and virtual experiences become integral to the holiday. Imagine donning a headset and stepping into a haunted mansion that exists only in the digital realm, where every creak of the floorboards and flicker of the lights feels achingly real. Children might roam their neighborhoods guided by interactive maps, encountering digital specters and solving eerie puzzles as they trick or treat. The line between reality and imagination will blur, creating a new dimension of fright and fun. Cultural shifts will also leave their mark. As society becomes increasingly diverse, Halloween is likely to reflect a broader array of traditions and celebrations. Communities might see a rich tapestry of customs blending into Halloween festivities, incorporating elements from various cultures and backgrounds. The night might evolve into a global celebration of creativity and unity, where traditional costumes give way to a melting pot of cultural symbols and stories. This evolution will not only enrich the holiday but also foster a deeper sense of inclusiveness and shared joy. Social trends, too, will influence how Halloween unfolds. As environmental concerns gain prominence, we might see a rise in eco-friendly practices. Imagine biodegradable decorations, sustainable costumes, and a focus on minimizing waste. Households may embrace reusable trick-or-treating bags and energy-efficient lighting, turning Halloween into a celebration of both fun and responsibility. This shift will reflect a growing awareness of our impact on the planet, ensuring that the magic of Halloween doesn't come at a cost to the environment. The way we celebrate Halloween might also become more personalized and intimate. With advances in technology, families and friends could use virtual reality to create unique, shared experiences, from designing haunted houses together to participating in online costume contests. Social media platforms might continue to play a significant role, allowing people to showcase their creativity and connect with others around the world. As people seek more meaningful connections, Halloween could become a canvas for personal expression and shared celebrations, bridging distances and bringing people closer together. As societal norms continue to evolve, we might also see Halloween become a platform for addressing deeper issues and sparking conversations. The holiday could become a stage for raising awareness about social justice, mental health, and other pressing concerns. Costume themes and decorations might reflect a growing commitment to inclusivity and understanding, with celebrations that honor diverse experiences and promote positive change. In this ever-changing landscape, one thing remains certain: Halloween will continue to captivate our imaginations and hearts. The future of Halloween promises a blend of tradition and innovation, where the spooky and the spectacular intertwine in ways we are just beginning to envision. As the night grows darker and the jack-o'-lanterns flicker, we will see Halloween evolve into something both familiar and fantastically new, a testament to our collective creativity and enduring love for this magical night. Under the glow of a full moon, the shadows of Halloween stretch across the canvas of literature and art, casting eerie and mesmerizing shapes. From the haunting pages of Gothic novels to the chilling strokes of contemporary paintings, Halloween has long been a source of inspiration, capturing the imagination with its blend of darkness and enchantment. In the eerie stillness of a Gothic novel, Halloween becomes a stage for the macabre and the mysterious. Classic works like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or Bram Stoker's Dracula don't just hint at the supernatural, they plunge into it, embodying the fears and fascinations of their time. The fog-shrouded landscapes and ancient, crumbling castles evoke a timeless sense of dread and allure. Each line and description weaves a spell, inviting readers to explore the depths of human fear and the unknown. On these pages, Halloween isn't just a date on the calendar, it's a gateway to otherworldly realms where the line between life and death blurs. In contemporary literature, Halloween's influence is equally profound. Modern authors use the holiday to dissect societal fears and personal anxieties, often blending the supernatural with real-world issues. Stephen King's chilling tales, for example, explore the darkness lurking behind everyday life, turning Halloween into a reflection of our deepest fears and desires. His stories reveal how Halloween can serve as a mirror, reflecting the shadows that hide within us all. The holiday becomes a backdrop for confronting the darkness in both our world and ourselves, capturing the essence of Halloween's psychological impact. Art, too, has long been captivated by Halloween's eerie charm. Classic paintings often depict ghostly figures and haunted landscapes, using color and light to evoke a sense of dread and wonder. Artists like Francisco Goya and Henry Fuseli painted nightmarish visions that resonate with Halloween's themes of fear and the supernatural. Goya's Witches' Sabbath and Fuseli's The Nightmare bring to life the essence of Halloween through their dark, compelling imagery. These works invite viewers to confront their fears and embrace the beauty in the unsettling. In contemporary art and photography, Halloween's haunting allure continues to inspire. Modern artists and photographers capture the spirit of the holiday with innovative techniques and fresh perspectives. Spooky street scenes, creatively staged costumes, and dramatic lighting all come together to create powerful visual narratives. Halloween's presence in art becomes a celebration of imagination and a testament to the holiday's ability to inspire awe and wonder. The contrast of vibrant costumes against shadowy backdrops reflects the duality of Halloween, a dance between light and darkness, joy and fear. In these artistic expressions, Halloween transcends its origins, becoming a universal symbol of the uncanny and the extraordinary. Whether through the haunting prose of a Gothic novel or the vivid imagery of a modern painting, Halloween remains a powerful muse. It stirs our emotions, ignites our imaginations, and allows us to explore the mysteries that lie beyond the veil of everyday life. As the night deepens and the Halloween festivities unfold, literature and art continue to capture and amplify the holiday's enchantment. Each story, painting, and photograph adds to the rich tapestry of Halloween, transforming it into a celebration of the mysterious and the magical. In this way, Halloween becomes not just a date on the calendar but a profound expression of our collective fascination with the unknown. As the October chill settles in and the night falls, Halloween casts its spell, a powerful mix of ancient rites and modern revelry. The holiday, cloaked in the allure of darkness and the thrill of the unknown, draws us into a world where the boundary between life and death becomes blurred, and the ordinary transforms into something extraordinary. From its ancient roots, Halloween has always been a reflection of humanity's deepest fears and desires. It began as Samhain, a festival to mark the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter, a time when the veil between the living and the dead was believed to be at its thinnest. People lit bonfires and wore costumes to ward off spirits, seeking to protect themselves from the darkness that encroached upon their lives. These traditions were a way to confront the unknown and make peace with the forces beyond human control. As centuries passed, Halloween evolved. The solemn rituals of Samhain gave way to the more playful customs of All Hallows' Eve. The Christian influence transformed the festival into a time for remembering the dead, blending solemnity with celebration. It was a time for costumes and revelry, a moment to honor the past while looking forward to the future. This evolution didn't erase the ancient fears, but layered them with new meanings, creating a tapestry of tradition that continues to captivate. In the medieval and early modern periods, Halloween became intertwined with local customs and beliefs, each region adding its own twist. The tradition of trick-or-treating, for example, took root in the practices of the medieval souling, where the poor would go door to door on All Hallows' Eve asking for food in exchange for prayers for the dead. Over time, these customs transformed into a festive tradition of costumes and candy, reflecting the holiday's shift from solemnity to celebration. The 20th century brought Halloween into the spotlight of mass media and commercialization. Movies and television shows began to depict Halloween as a time of frightful fun, solidifying its place in popular culture. The rise of horror films added a new dimension to the holiday, emphasizing the thrill of fear and the pleasure of being scared. As Halloween became more commercialized, it embraced a broader audience, blending its ancient origins with modern consumerism. Costumes, decorations, and candy became integral parts of the holiday, reflecting both its historical roots and its new role as a major cultural event. Today, Halloween represents a complex blend of history and modernity. It's a time when people of all ages dress up in costumes, from the whimsical to the terrifying, and participate in festivities that span the spectrum from family-friendly fun to adult-themed parties. The ancient customs of warding off spirits and honoring the dead are still present, but they are now interwoven with contemporary practices that reflect our current society's love of spectacle and celebration. The essence of Halloween lies in its ability to connect us with our past while embracing the present. It's a night that allows us to confront our fears in a controlled and enjoyable way. The costumes, the candy, the haunted houses, all these elements combine to create a unique experience that speaks to both our ancient instincts and our modern sensibilities. As the night grows darker and the flickering of jack-o'-lanterns light up the streets, Halloween invites us to step into a world where the boundaries of reality are stretched. It's a time to remember where we came from, to honor the traditions that have shaped the holiday, and to celebrate the ways in which it has evolved. Halloween is more than just a celebration, it's a reflection of our collective psyche, a moment to explore the intersection of fear, joy, and the supernatural. With each passing year, Halloween continues to evolve, blending its rich history with contemporary trends. It remains a powerful reminder of our fascination with the unknown and our desire to celebrate life and death in equal measure. As we don our costumes and partake in the festivities, we connect with a tradition that spans centuries, honoring its past while creating new memories for the future.